Welcome to Grassroots Media and welcome to this year's edition of the Baileyton Drug Company Jamey Palmer Show, presented by Starnes Barber, where we cover everything on the diamond here in Baileyton with the North Green Huskies baseball team. I'm joined here with new Huskies head coach Jamey Palmer. Coach.
Hey, Tyler.
Good to see you today.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing?
Great.
Beautiful Friday out here. I know you talked about it. It's a great day to be out here on the diamond if you're blessed enough to be out here on the diamond, whether it's practice or a game. Nice and sunny now. We're in April. I know you're kind of 3 months to a month into being a new head coach now. I know that transition was during the school year. It wasn't last year during the off season. You kind of had a little bit of a transition period. So I want to ask you about that first, being a new head coach now. How much do you like being the head coach?
Love it. It's a tough first question starting out. I've been with Jason for about 8 years now. I think this would be the 9th. Just blessed to work with him. He's like a brother to me, so he's made the transition easy for me, so I appreciate that. Anytime I've talked to him or called him, or he's always answered or done stuff to help me out, I just think a lot of him, and he's been there for me through this transition, so appreciate that.
It's been a successful first half of the season so far. Sitting at 8-3 at the moment, 4-0 within District 1 1A play. Talk about the season up to this point, too, and how happy you've been with the success you've seen in the first month.
Well, I am very happy. I felt like we got started a little late with the transition, and I knew basketball boys would make a run, so kind of just had to go with next man up mentality. So a couple of those juniors have stepped in, and those first 4 or 5 games there, and done what they needed to do to get the job done. And it was just a pleasant surprise to see those boys step up. So very proud of them.
As a coach too, knowing that you've got a team like that, where I've joked about it every show this week, and I'll joke about it one last time because why not, but I always want basketball and baseball season to be separated. I know you as a coach want that too, and they just overlapped it more for us this year also.
Yep.
How do you kind of work around that, where you've got not a majority, but you've got some of your key players out there on the basketball court still, while you've got official sanctioned games going on the diamond? How do you kind of transition from playing some of those guys and then transitioning those guys back in? And you don't really have baseball shape like you do going from football to basketball shape, but how do you kind of transition those guys from the court to the diamond?
Well, we knew with Isaac, he's our shortstop. He's a baseball player.
Yeah.
Tyler and Jaden, I feel like they're baseball players as well, but they excel. All three of them excel at the basketball level. So, we were glad to get those guys back. Isaac, I think, came back a couple games before Jaden and Tyler did, and made a difference in a couple of games as far as being at shortstop. Made some great plays. I think it was a Northview game. I feel like maybe the other guys could have made those plays, but we'd been starting a freshman there, and the arm strength just wasn't there to get the ball across to first. But Isaac made 2 or 3 key plays, so just to have him back at shortstop kind of solidified our infield a little bit. So and Tyler and Jaden, we're working those guys in. Tyler does a lot of pitching for us. He'll actually get the pitch this coming week. Brought him in a couple of games against, I think, West Green and maybe Cloudland. I'm not sure which one of those words. I have to go back and look. But just getting his arm ready, and where he can really give us a run down the stretch. So, and Jaden plays outfield, or he pinch runs for us. So I'm just glad to get those guys back. So.
I want to talk about the team as a whole also. From my understanding, I think you only have one senior, right?
Yes.
Jake Duffy?
Yeah, Jake Duffy.
So you've only got one senior. You've got, I'm assuming, a lot of sophomores and juniors that build up the rest of that roster too, and a few freshmen. Yeah. So take me through the team and kind of talk about, you can go player by player, position by position, just talk about the team as a whole. Take me through the team that we've got on the field this year in 2025.
Well, we'll start with Jake Duffy. He's our only senior. I mean, Jake is couldn't ask for a better player. He controls center field for us. He can come in and play infield. Honestly, Tyler, if you know me being over here the last 8 years, from freshman year to senior year, Jake Duffy's probably the most improved player that I've been a part of to coach. So that's pretty special. And I think he's actually worked really hard in the off season this year. His hitting is, we leading him off. Couldn't ask for a better leadoff hitter. He's quick. He gets on base. Has a great eye to plate. So he's doing the job as a leadoff hitter's supposed to do. Juniors, we're junior loaded. I think there's 9 of them.
Wow, that's going to be a big senior night next year.
Yes, it is. So those guys are really eating up a lot of innings for us. Especially when we didn't have the basketball players. A couple, 3 or 4 of them had to step in and play some positions that they weren't used to playing. So and they held their own. They did a good job for us. You have Colton Suggs was one of them, Jackson Britton, Owen Pierce, Wyatt Burns, Christian Cogdell. Christian behind the plate's doing a great job for us. I mean, that junior class is going to be hard to replace. So, and then we got a couple sophomores. Only 2 of those. Brady Malone, which has been a pleasant surprise for us. He's about a 6'4", 200-pounder. Been pitching on the mound for us. Probably, I don't know. I think he's like 4-1 so far, and he's averaging about 9 strikeouts a game when he pitches. So he's
tremendous.
Yes, he's doing a lot of work for us, and super proud of all those guys. And we've got a couple freshmen on varsity. Isaac Halley, that's Aiden's little brother, which Aiden is a junior as well. I can't say enough about Aiden. I meant to mention him there earlier. I think he's 3-1. A couple no decisions, I believe. So, and then we got a Turner Collins, which is our backup catcher on varsity. Christian's kind of took him under his wing a little bit, kind of showing him the ropes, and he's getting a lot of good work in. So, just got 14 on varsity.
Talking about some of the games, too, I'll talk about 2 recent ones that kind of tie in with grassroots media because they were both county games. I know they weren't conference games for you, and they were 2 that I was at, and they were 2 very challenging games. You got a challenge from West Green last Friday out there in Malsheim, and then you had a challenging game at South Green last night, too. You had a 2-0 lead late in the game. South Green comes back tied up, and then you score 2 in the top of the 7th to end up taking that lead and getting that win. So talk about both of those games and the challenges that were presented to you lately.
The 2 games we had against West Green, Coach Osman does a great job down there. Some great kids down there as well. Those games here, the game we had here on Thursday, I think we pulled out in the lead, and then they came back. We took the lead back. It's kind of back and forth there, and I think we had the lead, and I think Braden did a good job on the mound for them. I think we intentionally walked him, and then the catcher, I think his last name's Bath, he came up, brought Aiden in, tried to close it for us. And Aiden made a great pitch. It's a curveball down and in, and the kid just roped one into left field, and I think they went up 3 or 4, and we scratched one in the bottom of the 7th. Just couldn't pull it out. It's just that's baseball.
Yeah.
We go to West Green on Friday, and I think we go up 7-0. We were patient at the plate, and they scratched 1 or 2 here and there, and then they just kept, they added on and we didn't. They had a couple, 3 or 4 key hits. And we just couldn't get those hits when we needed them. And that seemed like that's been some of our forte. First few games, we leave a lot of runners on base and just couldn't get them in, So it's just, sometimes you just have to tip your hat, Tyler.
Yeah.
So the game with South Green last night, we was glad to get to play that game. Monday and Tuesday got rained out against UH. So we were glad to get to play Thursday. Dalton, he's been working those boys hard out there. So you got to commend him. It was back and forth. It was a good pitcher's duel, early on.
For a while there, I think through the first 3 innings, there may have only been 1 hit total.
Yes.
From either team.
Yeah, it was good pitcher's duel. So, and that's what you want.
Yeah.
You want good competitive games, especially in Greene County. And we found a way to scratch two across. Brady was doing a good job. I felt like he was getting a little tired because he hadn't pitched in a week. So I pulled him and I brought Aiden in to try to get the save. Of course, Aiden and a lot of the lefties that I've coached in the past, it takes them 15 to 20 pitches to get good and loose. South Green, they found a way to scratch 2. So they tied it up, and our guys come back in the top of the 7th and find a way to get 2 more. So, and Aiden, he was dialed in that bottom of the 7th. So, and he works hard. I felt like our chances of holding runners were better with him on the mound.
Yeah, always.
Him being a lefty. So we was just trying to keep him out of scoring position. He actually picked the guy off at first for the 3rd out. So, I can't complain any because, we're battling, we're in games, we're competing. So, proud of them.
Getting some good competitive games in here recently, which is what you want to have going into the important games later on with University High that I know that are left with those wins over Unique and Cloudland that help you sit up there tied for first place with 0 losses with University High. But before we talk about anything else, as always, we need to go ahead and get a break and get a word from our sponsors in first. So when we return, we'll talk about the Huskies' upcoming schedule here on Grassroots Media.
My name is Robert Starnes. I'm a lifelong resident of northern Greene County, where I currently reside here with my wife and 3 children. I was a barber in Greenville for the last 6 years, but I have recently changed locations to my new shop in Baileyton. It's at 285 Mortis Hollow Lane, Afton. I'm also a proud supporter of North Greene Athletics. Come see me for all of your men and boys grooming needs. Go Huskies!
Baileyton Drug Company services the surrounding communities of Baileyton with excellent patient care using a full-line pharmacy, over-the-counter selections, and a convenient drive-thru. When you visit us, you are treated as a neighbor, not a number. It's not just our slogan, but our culture. We're investing in our patients, local schools, and community. For over 5 years now, we have established ourselves as an independently family-run pharmacy that isn't driven by corporate goals. We are driven by what is best for your overall health and wellness. We're conveniently located so you don't have to make the drive. Prescription drugs are just the tip of the iceberg. We also offer natural remedies, essential oils, at-home medical needs such as walkers, rollators, bath accessories, as well as wound care products. And coming soon, basic urgent care services. What makes us better than other drugstores out there? When you frequent Baileyton Drug, you will receive professional, courteous, and friendly service that goes above and beyond any other pharmacy in the area. Remember, you're a neighbor, not a number.
Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Baileyton Drug Company Jamey Palmer Show, presented by Starnes Barber, where we cover everything out here on the diamond at North Greene with the Huskies baseball team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Jamey Palmer. So you got 5 games coming up this week. Luckily, I think for you, you don't have to travel any.
No.
I think they're all at home.
It kind of worked out if you want to look at it that way. We got the rain last week.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to really go anywhere other than South Greene. So that's not too far. And this coming week, it's gonna be a grind. So we got 5 games this coming week, probably 5 games next week. If Mother Nature helps us out. So, right now she's winning 2-0.
Yeah. Whenever you hit April, that's when you're going to start to see 5 games this week, 5 games next week.
Yeah.
Of course, when you want to get into May, you want to start playing a lot of games each week,
Yes.
because that means you're still alive as one of the only teams left within the state playing baseball. But let's talk about the games this week. On Monday and Tuesday, you get some conference action. You host both Unaka on Monday and Cloudland on Tuesday. Jumping into both of those 2 teams you've already played, knowing kind of their tendencies and already playing them twice, what can you expect on Monday and Tuesday?
Well, it seemed like Unaka and Cloudland as well. We played them already, and going in, we just felt like that. If we could just see some good pitches, we'd put the bat on the ball and get some good swings. Both those teams are really, I feel like they have improved. I think they're both got young coaches like me as well. So I really think that they're working hard. So I feel like that, coming here Monday and Tuesday against them, we may throw some different pitchers, throw some different stuff at them, and work on some things that, maybe we hadn't worked on much already, because, with Tyler and Isaac and Jaden being back, they didn't get to work on those things. So they've only had 2 or 3 days practice because we're playing so much, and of course rainouts and stuff. So we'll just do what we can do, Tyler.
Going to what you said also, this is a side question, not off topic, but sort of on topic. You talked about being a young head coach in the conference with Unaka and Cloudland's head coaches. Coach Lowe talked to me about how he was the longest tenured coach, I think, within that conference now, and everybody else was young. In that conference now, in a 14 conference, who was the longest tenured coach? Because it can't be more than 3 or 4 years,
I don't even think it's that. I think it's the 2 years. I think the Cloudland coach and the UH coach have 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're all young. We're all still learning.
And then going into the rest of the week, you've got the Buddy Hawk Classic.
Yes.
Always enjoy talking about that. Always enjoy being around that. Talking about this year's games and the 3 that you'll host, you've got, I know, on Thursday with Hampton and Cott County both, and then you take a day off, and then Saturday you'll host Volunteer. So take me through that pool of teams that you'll play come the Buddy Hawk Classic.
Well, Hampton, we played them. We didn't play them last year because they moved to AA. I think they come back in our conference next year, so be a good little test for us. I think they had a battle with West Green in their district, so their guys are going to come down here and compete. So Cott County, I don't know much about them. I think we played them a couple years ago here, and they were a pretty good team. I think we squeaked one out against them, and of course they didn't like it. So who knows? Some of those kids may still be on that team. So
maybe a little extra juice there for them.
You're right. So just got to bring your game every game. So baseball's funny. One day you may have it, and one day you don't. So it's kind of like the weather, Tyler.
You're completely correct.
Yeah.
And then talking about the Buddy Hawk Classic, just an overview also. I know you've been a part of it now you said this is your 9th year on the coaching staff.
Yes.
So how much do you enjoy the Buddy Hawk Classic each year when it rolls around to the beginning of April?
Well, we get to play teams that sometimes we don't normally play. I know we've played Volunteer. They've been in our pool the last couple games. Josh Peterson, he's over there. He was a former player at Unaka. A great player at Unaka, and so he's coaching those guys, and they're always competitive. If you can get a win against them, you got to feel good for your ball club. I think just the Buddy Hawk, I think the Park and Rec is kind of over that, so we appreciate those guys pulling those teams in. It's here, West Green. I think South Green, Chucky Oak are all Greenville. All of them are playing at host sites. So just pulling some different teams in and seeing some different players, quality baseball, I think it'll help us down the road.
And it's great for the community also. I mean, if you love baseball, you can go to any of the sites throughout Greenville and Greene County and watch some baseball. If you like this team, hey, they might be playing here this day. If you're a North Green supporter and you want to come Thursday, come Saturday. You've got games here Friday too, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Just
yes.
not the North Green Huskies.
Yeah.
So if you're a North Green fan or supporter, you can watch them on Thursday and Saturday. If not, and you're just looking to enjoy some baseball, come out on Friday also. Support the Huskies, support Greene County, support everybody involved. But unless there's anything else you'd like to add, Coach, I think that's all I've got for you.
Tyler, I appreciate you coming out.
I appreciate you too. It's nice to see all the dandelions out here too.
Yes,
I know
yes.
Coach Sauceman always jokes about them.
He does. I'm going to have to start working on some stuff here, try to get rid of these things.
You can pick some of them, put them in a jar for him.
Yeah, I think his daughter likes them too,
Yeah.
so I don't want to get rid of them all, so keep her happy.
Well, Coach, I enjoyed being out here with
Thank you.
Thank you for the first edition. Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Baileyton Drug Company Jamey Palmer Show presented by Starnes Barbershop. Look forward to seeing you next week here on Grassroots Media.
Thank you.